Before we start our interview, could you please introduce yourself a little bit so that I can get to know you before we start the whole interview?
Okay, so my name is IZZATUL AS'SYURA, but Ismail. You just can call me Shura. It's more comfortable for me. So, and I am 20 years old, and I really like to read a book and study. It's like I think it's important in this life. So I think that's it for my introduction.
All right. I'll go straight to the first question. Okay. From your understanding, what is your definition of learning?
Learning. Okay. From my perspective, learning is an endless process. Whether we, as a child or as an adult, we always seek for something new. We always learn from our experience, whether in formal or formal way. So I think learning is, like some process so that we can, a process we learn something new and it can occur change in our behavior. So I think that's learning.
Okay. That's such a good explanation. So, for the next question, the term that we call relatively permanent. So, what is your understanding about relatively permanent in learning?
Relatively permanent in learning. I think the word relatively permanent. The term shows that if we learn something, it will change our behavior, and it can change us into a permanent behavior from positive or negative perspective. It can occur in change in behavior.
Alright. So, okay. When we said about learning style, so what is your learning style? While you're attending a class or you're studying by yourself or making assignments, so what is your learning style that you use to help you in studying?
Okay, such a nice question. So I guess to me, I am such a person who like musical because I like to learn to music while doing an assignment. So that's the first one. And the second one is I like verbal. Whenever in class and sometimes I need to talk with friends about how I understand this such question or topic. So if I use the verbal, so then I can understand it more clearly about that.
Okay, that's such an interesting thing. Okay, so the next one, when we say about brain dominance theory, so based on that terms, brain dominance theory, what did help you uh, in making assignments? I mean, like, which part of your brain that you use dominantly in making assignments, studying, everything?
I think about the brain dominance thing, I think I'm more to the right side. Yes, because people who good at maths, who will plan detail, they will use the left side, right? So I'm not that kind of person. So
Okay.
I'm the opposite one. I use the right side. Yeah.
Okay, so the next one. Okay, for the next question, okay, from the theory that you learn, classical conditioning and also operant conditioning, which of that theory that you prefer to use in yourself and it would give an impact to you? So could you explain that by your own experience?
Okay, I see. Thank you for the question. I think if you compare both of the theory, I like the open condition one. It's because the theory is about like we do something to get reward or to prevent us from punishment. So based on my experience, I used to I used to want to get Dean list, so I have to work hard to get a reward. The reward is I can get an award and certificate. So I prevent from get punishment. It is maybe my parents will cut my allowance if I get below 3.5 CGPA. So I think that is one of my experience.
Okay, but that means like you have such an ambitious
Yeah.
thing to achieve. Okay. And the last one from that four processes of social learning theory. So which one of the social learning theory that you use, that you apply in your real life? Last question. We've known that there are four processes of social learning theory, and I would like to ask you, will you apply those four theories in your real life?
Alright, okay, so this is the last question, right? So I guess the last question is very interesting one because it's based on social, you know. When we mention social, of course, there's an interaction between human. Okay, so the social learning theory, there's four processes. The first one is, attentional processes, right? So in this process, based on my experience, I like dancing, and my model is Jang Monyoung. So at the first process, I observed the way she dances. I observed the way her makeup. I really adore her. She's very pretty and talented at a young age. So during the first process, I observed her, and the second one, we call it a retention process. So the next one, after I observe her dance, I memorize her choreography. So it's like, even though I didn't watch the video, but I can memorize the choreography because at the beginning we already observed the choreography. So the second one, I memorize it. And the third one is called motor reproduction process. So in this stage, I practice it. I practically do how she move her body, and I follow it. And so the last one, the process, the reinforcement process. This is the part where I participate in aero dance sessions, Zumba, or anything like that. And I want to show to people my talent. So basically, this four process, I learn from her without she teach me. So I learn in social theory, we can learn without she teach us face to face. So I guess that's it.
Okay, thank you for your participation.
Thank
So
you
I
for
guess-
inviting me in
Okay,
this
yeah.
interview session.
My pleasure.
I had so much fun,
Alright, the interview has ended, so I hope that you will get this.
Okay.
Right? Okay, you would score this subject.